Welcome to another edition of RGN Quick Play. Today we're going to showcase another major 2020 title for the Commodore 64, MW Ultra, developed by Last Ordinary from Covert BitOps. The game will be co-released by Protovision, who will handle the cartridge and digital editions, and Cytronic Software, who will be looking after the physical disc release. MW Ultra is a reboot of the original Metal Warrior game released in 1999. The game basically retells the original story in an expanded setting with some deviations to the story arc, and features a greatly enhanced gameplay over the original title. The game starts off with your player, named Ian, lying asleep one night when he all of a sudden finds himself in a prison cell and trying to fight his way out to freedom. For those of you who have played any of the Metal Warrior titles previously, you'll immediately enjoy the improved fluidity of the player controls. There's a sense of silky smoothness to them, and navigating staircases is no longer a finicky and frustrating experience. As you'll find out later, searching lockers is a critical element of the gameplay that will lead to many rewards. Well, it turns out that all that action was just a dream. That flashback sequence we have played through is part of the overall story, but for now acts as a tutorial section that allows us to get accustomed to controlling Ian. Moving along, Ian gets a call from his best friend Lucas, who is asking him to help with the easy burglary job. Well, what are best friends for? Let's get on with it. Oh no, looks like we're down one best friend. Ian takes the loss of his best friend pretty hard and vows to spend the rest of his life playing guitar, drinking beer and growing out his lustrous blonde mullet. That is until he receives a call from the member of heavy metal band Cyberpriest, who Lucas played guitar for before his untimely demise. Looks like they want Ian to try out as a replacement. Well, Ian is up for it. After all, it would be a shame to have that mullet go to waste. As we head outside, we find that our local neighbourhood is anything but safe. Hoodlums roam the streets and don't hesitate in narrowing their focus on you. Luckily, Ian somehow possesses the fighting skills of Steven Seagal and is more than capable of holding his own. Dispelled enemies will drop cash or weapons for us to pick up and use. The use of fists, knives and nunchucks and batons are unlimited, but all other weapons that fire projectiles have limited ammo capacity. Defeating enemy combatants will result in your experience bar building up. Filling this bar up to maximum results in a skill point being awarded, in which you can use to upgrade Ian's skills. Also roaming the streets are police officers. They don't attack Ian, only concentrating on the hoodlum's gun. This is a nice little feature, as it means that at times Ian can let the police finish off gang members. While this approach allows you to save energy while still being rewarded with dropped items, it does not help build your experience bar. Ian also has a health bar that is split into 3 segments. Finding time to take a rest will allow your health to slowly restore itself up to the maximum of the currently filled segment. Full health can be restored by using first aid kits, drinking beer, or going back to your home for a night of rest. Losing all your energy results in the game being over, but don't fret, as a standard game mode allows you to resume the game from within the current game world location. Anyway, let's get back to our first objective, finding Cyberpriest's rehearsal room. Okay, we need to get to Lucas's place to pick up some notes, but before we do that, we need to find the band's drummer so he can provide us with an aid to get into the apartment without causing too much of a fuss. You might have noticed in this video there's a short pause when the game is loading up different sections of the game world. I'm playing the disc version of MW Ultra, which fits on two sides of a diskette. I'm quite impressed with how quick loading times are in the game while playing the disc version. It's a similar loading time to that experienced in Steel Ranger for those who have played that game. Having picked up what we need, let's move on to Lucas's apartment. Okay, we've headed back to rehearsal space, and Ian shows off his skills and lands the gig. Time for celebration, but Ian has trouble keeping up with Joe, which triggers another flashback. MW Ultra does contain some interactive discussion where you get to choose the nature of your responses. Your responses to these interactions can affect the outcome of the end story. Well, it's time to get a good night's rest before our concert. The gig seems to be going quite well. That is until the crowd all of a sudden starts to riot, and the rest of the band decides that they want to join in on the fight. For some reason, Ian turns out to be the only person who did not get the urge to join in on the ruckus, but he has some ideas on the cause of the strange crowd behaviour and is encouraged by the police to investigate his theory. And this is where I'll stop with the story narrative and let you find out the rest for yourself. MW Ultra is a large game. My first playthrough took close to 8 hours to complete, taking me through a good variety of locations and objectives along the way. Luckily, both the disc and cart versions of the game have a save feature. The storytelling within MW Ultra is superior to the original Metal Warrior game. Not only is it a bit more mature, but far more engaging. The gameplay on offer within MW Ultra is not linear. For a good part of the game, you'll have two objectives to tackle, often backtracking areas you have already covered, and this lends the game to having somewhat of an open feel to it within the confines of the overall story arc. Managing your player's energy bar is an important component of MW Ultra, whether it be by finding time to allow it to replenish, or using first aid kits and drinking beers. Another important element of the game is to use the cover feature. When facing enemies with firepower, ducking into a cover spot is a good idea and allows you to get the advantage over these enemies without losing too much energy. The amount of action definitely steps up the deeper you get into the story, but luckily there are an abundant amount of opportunities for you to pick up powerful weapons, grenades and body armor. MW Ultra is an epic title for the Commodore 64. Great production, engaging storytelling, fluid controls, objective-based gameplay, and lots of game world variety makes this an essential game to own and play. I hope you enjoyed looking through MW Ultra with me, and I want to thank the viewers who have generously provided RGM with a tip to help sustain the ongoing financial viability of the channel. It is greatly appreciated, guys. Thanks a lot. Until next time, bye for now.